Good morning. So, it's 9:30, 9:31. Maybe we can start on time. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Executive Director of the Bio-based Industries Joint Undertaking and on behalf of the BBI team and our two founding partners, the European Commission and the Bio-based Industries Consortium, I would like to warmly welcome you to the BBI Info Day for our call 2016. I am very pleased to say that we have well over 500 participants already registered for our Open Info Day and brokerage event today. So thank you all for your interest in BBI activities. Of course, with the challenge of the security situation in Brussels at the moment, there has been some knock-on effect on people's ability to travel to and from Brussels. However, we are broadcasting all of this morning session via the internet, and the recordings of this session will also be available for download after the event. You can find all the links for this on the Open Info Day webpage on our BBI website. In fact, I've been informed that we have already something like 100 viewers who have already logged online, so I would like to also welcome you as well. I don't know which camera it is, but welcome to you who are online. If you are following us via the webcast, you can still participate on the Q&A session by sending us your question using the link there, and we will try to answer as many as possible. I will receive directly the question on my laptop there. So, actually, I've got a question for you. Why are you here today? And maybe I can try to answer. Maybe you are here to get a better understanding on what our 2016 call is about. Or perhaps to find out what BBI is about and how we can work together. In fact, you're probably here for both questions. Most likely, you are here representing your organization because you have a direct or indirect interest in taking part in the 2016 call. And certainly, many of you are here because you hope to become a BBI project participant. And that's great. We share this goal with you. We want to contribute to the development of the European bio-based industry, and by doing so, to contribute to the development of the whole European bioeconomy. And I have some good news for you. The question, which was, will the bio-based industry will really develop? It's not really a question anymore, because it's already happening. It's happening because we have no other choice. Bio-based industries in the European Union already provide 3.2 million jobs and have a current total turnover around 600 billion euro. And my colleague Dirk Carrez will go into further details about those data. That's not bad for a so-called nascent sector. So, the question is not if it will happen, but to what extent it will happen here in Europe, and whether Europe can take the lead in the development of the bio-based industry sector. Your role as a potential applicant is absolutely key to this process. You will become one of the actors, the doers, the researchers, the decision makers pushing forward this development by being the one who enable Europe tackle the leadership in bio-based industry. And BBI JU will support you as a catalyzer. So, once again, thank you for being with us here and online. Let's move on to how we can work to make this happen. Let's have a quick look at our agenda for today. In a moment, I will begin our plenary session here in the Gasperi room. I will kick off today's proceedings by explaining what BBI JU is about and why this public-private partnership was needed. Then I'm delighted to hand over to our first keynote speaker, John Bell. John is Director of Bioeconomy at DG RTD and is also a BBI JU Governing Board member. He will look at the role of BBI JU in the context of the overall European bioeconomy strategy. Following John, we will hear from our second keynote speaker, Dirk Carrez. Dirk is Executive Director of BIC, the Bio-Based Industries Consortium. Dirk is also a member of our BBI Governing Board. He will give us the industry perspective and more specifically the expected socio-economic impact of the overall initiative. Finally, you will hear what's new from Call 2016 from one of our BBI JU project manager, Agata Pieniadz. There will be time then for a question and answer with our first panel, and then we will have a short coffee break between 11 and 11:20 there. After coffee, we will ask you to join us again here in the Gasperi room at 11:20 for our third session this morning, which will cover all practicalities in putting together a proposal, and we'll share with you some tips to help you through the preparation and submission stages of your future application. I will further detail the agenda of this third session just after the coffee break. At 1 p.m. we will round off the morning with an informal networking lunch. The afternoon session will be dedicated to helping participants to grow their professional network with the aim of encouraging collaboration between you in order to answer our Call 2016 for proposal. There is still time to sign up using the BBI partnering platform, either via your computer or if you have a mobile device, you can download the BBI partnering app. The Wi-Fi code and connection are available at the entrance. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking forward to a very useful and productive day with you all today. And now I will move to my own presentation, what BBI is about and why this public-private partnership was needed. Okay, sorry, there is a problem. That's the right one. So this is basically the value chain, the simplified value chain we are talking about. And today, this bio-based industry value chains represent 3.2 million jobs and 600 billion turnover. But those value chains, not this value chain, those value chains are extremely fragmented in terms of actors and fragmented across geographical boundaries. Just looking at the keywords on the right side, on the left side, you can immediately see that there are actors that were not really connected in the past. On top of this, those value chains are facing with several challenges and risks to further develop. There are risks in terms of feedstock supply and mainly risk in reliability of this feedstock supply from a qualitative and quantitative point of view. The supply chain are extremely fragmented, and the infrastructure to transport the biomass from the site where they are generated, where they are produced, to the transformation side, this infrastructure is currently insufficient. The transformation as such performed in biorefineries represent very heavy investment, but also risky investment because of the technological risk attached to it. And here, especially in Europe, we are still facing with some heavy regulation constraints. For the end application, the third part of the value chain, there are also product development risk because these are simply new products, new technologies, new applications. But there is also an issue in consumer awareness and, more generally speaking, consumer acceptation. And last, also facing with regulations, specifically on specifications, because specifications were based on oil-based product mainly, and sometimes we need to adapt them to those new bio-based products. So that's the main reason why a public-private partnership was part of the bioeconomy strategy developed in 2012. It was needed to de-risk investment, to organize the value chain, and to reach the critical mass of this emerging sector. And this to enable several things: to pool resources from public and private sector, to create a common platform, to have a joint approach across sectors and geographies, to have a joint financial commitment and a jointly defined program to leverage additional investment from public-private industry sector, to implement clear framework that will bring clarity and clarity for activities and investment, and last but not least, ensure long-term stability and predictability. And what are we doing at BBI? So BBI, as already said, is a public-private partnership between the European Commission and the industry organized in the Bio-based Industry Consortium. BBI has a budget of 3.7 billion euro to invest in research and development to further develop bio-based industry. Around 25% of this budget comes from the Commission and 75% from the industry. BBI JU is an independent legal entity since the 26th of October. It's an independent entity, but we strictly operate under the rules of Horizon 2020 for participation, with three basic and important principles. A principle of openness, which means the calls are opened. It means that it's not only for closed club, I would say. You will see in my presentation several times, I will insist on the fact that being a member of a big help in the proposal, but it's not mandatory, it's open. Transparency is important rules. It means that basically rules are clear and known in advance. And if it is not clear, great. That's one of the reasons you are here today, so that we can clarify this for you. And excellence simply means that we will select simply the best proposal we will receive, and for sure we will receive excellent proposal. Our mission basically is to implement, under the rules of Horizon 2020, the strategic research and innovation agenda developed by the industry. And the BBI JU office team, more specifically, is in charge of call management, proposal evaluation, grant agreement preparation process, the whole project management life cycle, but also communication, dissemination, stakeholder management, support to policies towards our colleagues at the Commission, and contribution to the annual work plan. Our objective is quite simple. It's to develop sustainable and competitive bio-based industry in Europe, and this based on advanced biorefinery that will source their biomass in a sustainable way. And to achieve that, we have to reach three main objectives. First one is about demonstrating new technology. There it's about filling the gap. It's about developing technologies to enable existing value chain to be ready. The second objective is about business model, developing business model of the whole value chain and ensure that each actor of the value chain also have a good business model. If not, if only one is missing, the whole value chain is missing. The last one is to set up a flagship biorefinery plant. And this is absolutely key, this third one, because historically Europe was very good in developing science, great technologies. But when it happened that, okay, now we have to invest, unfortunately we have to see, to observe that a lot of investment were done outside Europe. That's why for us it's absolutely key in the program to make the investment happen here in Europe. The expected impact of this initiative by 2030 is huge. We intend to replace 30% of oil-based chemicals and material. This will also enable to diversify and grow farmer income, to create 700,000 jobs, 80% of them being in rural and coastal area, to reduce the dependency of Europe towards the import of fossil oil, but also from strategic raw material like proteins, mainly from soy, but also phosphate and potassium. To develop the potential of agriculture, waste and forestry, where there is a huge potential of mobilization of biomass. And last but not least, which is the consequence of this, of the other, is that this shift from oil-based to bio-based product will enable, in average, to reduce by 50% the greenhouse gas emission. It's important also to mention several points where we think BBI is a bit unique to boost this investment and to make this investment happen here in Europe. First of all, it's an industry-driven initiative, which means that the core topics you will be presented today has been defined by the Industries Consortium. Second element, already mentioned, the flagship action that enabled to attract here the first of this kind, biorefineries at commercial scale. Industry in-kind contribution is also a criteria taken into account in the evaluation of proposal. My colleague will come back on that. The widening participation strategy is important for us, and you will see a few data about this, which shows we are on the right track. We are not that 100% happy now, but we are on the right track. We have strong interaction with regions, and we also build synergies with other initiatives. I think the booth you have outside the room here is a good example of the kind of synergies we are building. Some other points I would like to point out, if I can say, is that this initiative is sustainable. And it is sustainable because we have focused on several aspects important to share with you. First of all, the waste valorization, organic waste, of course, from industry, food industry, mainly agriculture and municipalities is a focus. The reconversion of marginal lands and semi-area is also a focus, so that we avoid any risk of competition with food production. 3, the focus on second-generation biorefineries for biofuels. The increase of productivity of industrial multi-purpose crops is also a focus. New feedstock supply chain, like lignocellulosic residues from agriculture and forestry residues. As already mentioned, protein, phosphate, potash recovery is also a focus. And last, the reduction of the use of fertilizer and, generally speaking, the increase of crop yield production. So, a few words on what we have achieved so far, because we are independent since 6 months, but the story started a bit earlier. The story started really in 2014 with the first call, and there it was a call of 50 million euro with today 10 projects currently ongoing. Call 2015 was divided into 2 sub-calls. First one was dedicated to flagship plant, those biorefineries, first of this kind plant. We had a budget of 100 million euro. There, the evaluation was performed in 2015. The grant agreement process is, I can say, achieved. It's just a question of days. The grant agreement will be signed maybe today or tomorrow, or maybe Monday. And there we can already announce that in end of April, I would rather say in May, 3 new flagship projects will be ongoing. The second call of 2016, with a budget of 106 million euro, there the evaluation will be achieved tomorrow. In fact, the evaluation as such is already done, but we have to go through a whole process, and we are happy to already announce that we will be able to inform the applicant to send the information letter tomorrow. But we can already announce that it will be then 23, we will have then 23 grant agreement process ongoing, and hopefully 23 projects ongoing by the end of this year. And for today, we are talking about the call 2016. Here it's about 189 million euro. The good news is that the call is open since 19 of April, so it's open now. The deadline is 8 of September. and we will inform the applicant by the latest, the 7th of February 2017. Sorry, that's about the timetable. Now, a few statistics with regard to the call. For 2014, we received 38 eligible proposals, 10 were written, which correspond to 26% success rate. If you want to know more, if you want to have more information about this project, just visit our website or Corda, and most of those projects already have their own website. With regard to the participation in terms of country, we observed for this very first call that there was, I would say, a difference in participation, and we were not 100% happy with that. That's why from the very beginning we launched this widening participation strategy. What we also observed for this first call 2014, that big membership help. We can see that the success rate is higher, not because big members received additional point, no, simply because they are part of the game. I would say they contribute to the definition of the topics, they get access to a network, and they have early information. And really, it was significant. The last lesson learned here is the good SME participation with 20% of the whole budget requested. With regard to the call 2015.1, the one dedicated to flagship, where I repeat, we are for the moment in finalizing the signature of the grant agreement, we received 9 proposals, eligible proposals, 3 were written, 33% success rate, and we have to add that we also observed a very good contribution to the balanced portfolio of projects. And last point, those 3 new projects already help us to have a significant in-kind contribution from the industry. I will say a few words about that afterwards, and my colleague Dirk from BIC will also give some comments about that. If now we compare the submission statistic of call 2015 in total and 2014, in 2015 we had a bit more of topics to be covered, but the mobilization, your mobilization was by far better with 2 times more proposal, more than 80 proposal received in total, and more than 3 proposal per topic. So definitely we see the mobilization going on. If we have a look at the countries who participated, for the organization from countries, we really see an improvement there. So these are statistics of submission. If now we have a look at the statistics of country, of organization, of project retained for invited to the grant agreement, you can see a by far better repartition. If we only look at EU 28 for the time being, only 4 countries are still missing, which is a very important improvement compared to the first look. If you also look at the profile there, and we compare with this graph, which show per country the current turnover of bio-based industry and current employment, we can see it's very similar. Well, there are some exceptions, but it means that now we are reaching a situation where the application we received is online with the current business. Are we happy with that? No, we still want to improve and have something more balanced. Now, looking at the call 2015.2 and the overall outcome evaluation. First comment is that the quality of proposal we received was very high, with in total 47% of the proposal that were above threshold, which is an excellent result. In total, 23 proposals have been written out of 73 we received that were eligible, showing a 32% success rate, which is very good too. We also saw an optimal topic coverage and a consumption of the whole 106 million euro, which, I repeat, is very good tool. And last, and certainly not least, a very good share of SME within the total number of participants in the written proposal, 37% participation of SME, which is very good. And I can only confirm that big membership help, and it's significant there that the success rate was higher. And the very last bullet point, which is generally speaking for 2014 and 2015 call, we have now first data about the industry contribution. And you remember at the beginning that it was expected that roughly for €1 public money invested, it was expected to have €3 invested from the industry. And the good news is that it seems like we are doing better. But we will come back to that later on. That's it. Thank you very much. So, okay, thank you. The Q&A session for the 4 speakers of this first session will be afterwards. So now I will give the floor to John Bell, Director of Bioeconomy at the European Commission, DG RTD. John, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to those of you who are online, tweeters, and those of you who are out in the biosphere. I'd first like to thank you for physically coming to join us here in Brussels. Brussels is back in business. We're back to normal, and probably the thing you should worry about most today actually is the quality of the coffee rather than anything more grey. But I'd like to thank you for making the effort. It's not easy, and we very much appreciate this. We live here, we work here, we're back to normal. And Europe just moves forward and changes the context. And that's part of the reason why I'm speaking here. I'm the Director for Research and Innovation around the bioeconomy. And what we see where we're working here is a huge transformation that is taking place before our very eyes. And today you're part of a huge opportunity to take ownership of that, to reinvent it, to co-create it, to invest in it, to bring it down to earth in the sectors and industries and parts of Europe where you live and work. The bioeconomy is now irreversible. It's happening. The question is, will it happen where you work and live? Will Europe lead or follow? And that is something which our discussion today is about making it happen. It is for the people in this room and listening and participating in this call to push the limits of the imagination and knowledge, to think about new value change, new solutions, to be inventive, to be disruptive, and to really make something happen which won't happen in any other way. As we know in Europe, when we're faced with insuperable problems, as the founder of the European Union, Jean Monnet, said, you need to change the context. And if we look around at what's going on in the world, where we have to deal with the challenges of deindustrialization, of sustainability of our countrysides, of our regions, of our coasts, of our forests, we're looking at the opportunities to turn the challenge of decarbonisation and low waste, low energy societies into new and exciting and innovative opportunities so that we can become and be remembered as generation sustainability. You're right at the heart of that. I was looking at maybe some of you, if you were trapped in one of those hotel room news cycles, you saw the wonderful contest going on in New York last night. And the phrase kept coming back, from Mr. Clinton years ago, it's the economy stupid. Well, I think now the phrase as somebody picked up, it's the bioeconomy stupid. This is where we need to get, and we need to move things forward. And you'll see that what we're talking about here today is a physical manifestation of the European Union's absolute commitment to mobilise investment to make things happen much more quickly so that we can lead change and lead the world. And perhaps, as I said last week in Utrecht, the next great challenge for our European society is to build a sustainable economy, a sustainable society. So where does this fit in with what we've been doing? In 2012, many of you will know that the European Union adopted a strategy called Innovating for Sustainable Growth, a Bioeconomy for Europe. And our department has been the lead for this strategy, working with a lot of departments across the Commission. One of the key actions underpinning this strategy was an idea that we could mobilise investment to create something in the future like a public-private partnership. Now remember, this is at a theoretical level in 2012. But this joint undertaking, the BBI, which is probably the most ambitious action under this strategy, and certainly the best funded individual action by far, with nearly €1 billion of European taxpayers' money invested in the BBI Joint Undertaking, and as Philippe has said, at least €2.7 billion coming from industry, is already happening and moving. And you will see in the course of today the successes that are there and the opportunities that are within our grasp. A lot has happened since we launched the initiative formally only 2 years ago in June 2014. Philippe Mengal, as you've seen, who's come on board as our executive director, has done a fantastic job in mobilising and really setting the ambition for this joint undertaking. The organisation became autonomous only last October, and we've already had 3 calls for proposals launched and evaluated, where the European Union is already contributing 225 million euros of public funding. So investment, if you like, the European Union is putting its money where its mouth is, and this is a key area where we need to do that and do it quickly if we're going to lead, accelerate and meet some of these opportunities and challenges. Today, of course, we're here to share with you the information on the 2016 call for proposals of the BBI JU. And for today, we're investing from the EU side about 188 million euros. This represents one of the largest ever annual contributions in the initiative, and it really sets the level of expectations which we have placed in terms of leverage of industrial investments. And this is the idea behind what we're doing here. We're using public funds to create a magnet, to create partnerships, to co-create solutions which otherwise wouldn't happen, and to give a sense of certainty and direction and predictability that this is here to stay, this is happening, the European Union is serious about this, and this is the moment to seize. Going back to the bioeconomy in Europe, we're at a crossroads. You know all about the COP21 agreements, but almost every week you see another affirmation that there is a paradigm shift or a series of paradigm shifts happening. Last week in Nairobi, the 2 areas that were identified for the IPCC are agriculture and food and oceans. They're the next 2 areas where we're going to have an IPCC report. So when I said at the beginning it's irreversible in terms of our policy, in terms of our investment, in terms of our regulation, and it needs to be there in terms of our society. And this is linked and reflected in the 2 major initiatives of the Juncker Commission. Many of you will know about the circular economy package which the Juncker Commission recently brought out. Building the bioeconomy is one of the 5 core priorities. The bioeconomy, the bio-based engine, will drive the circular economy first, because we are so much in there in terms of the technologies and the value chains and the systems that are available. We are called on in building our bioeconomy, part of the circular economy, to address the issues of biomass and waste and the technologies that are needed and the strategies that are needed to roll it out. And similarly, in the Energy Union and the evolving discussions about how we build a renewable society, we are being called on to be inventive and to signal what is needed. So there couldn't be a better time for the bio-based industries to demonstrate that you can make a real difference and contribute to what both politicians, citizens and investors alike are looking for, which is the new paradigm of sustainability. This is moving beyond the original rationale of the bioeconomy, which was at that time to move beyond the fossil-based economy to the use of biological resources. That's a given. But now we have new requirements which are giving us new motive forces. What does sustainability mean for industry, for regions, for countries, for different value chains? How do we build an economy that can keep planet, people, production and population together in new and productive ways? How do we get to a low carb, low energy, high value, high growth economy? And how do we bring it down to earth in the different parts of the European Union where the bioeconomy typically, and the bioeconomy is unusual in this, it has a synergetic effect. It brings different parts of the economy together, and it needs the local regions to bring the biomass supply into play. So the opportunities are unique. So here we are trying to integrate the aims of decarbonisation with circularity. And at the same time, we're trying to promote this industrial renaissance, this rural regeneration in our forests, in our fields, in our coasts, by our oceans, and in our cities. And to develop new dynamic regional economies, something which I think you will see becoming a major part of the narrative on the bioeconomy in the months ahead. We're looking at the renewal and greening of key sectors, huge sectors, where most of our people live and work. Agri-food, forestry, waste, the marine, chemistry, and new sectors that we cannot even define yet. But you will see in the BBI the shape of things to come in the way innovators are redefining what is biomass, what is a value chain, what is added value, what are the goods and services needed for the next economy. So we're dealing with a very complex challenges requiring a high level of coordination across policies, and in the Commission and the other institutions with the Member States, that's one of the things we are now wrestling with. Bio-based industries and bio-based innovators will play the decisive role in this transition to this sustainable post-fossil resource-efficient productive economy, because you're the first movers. It's the show and tell moment for the bioeconomy. It's moving from our ambition and our aspiration to realizing this in real places, real factories and real value chains. And it can only be a success, we know, if there is a shared societal mobilization for the bioeconomy. There needs to be a clear and concrete articulation with society that the bioeconomy is part of the solution to the problem that people have and not part of the problem. And so we need in this phase also to mobilize societal support for the bioeconomy's development. Now you'll see in a number of things that are going on. There are national strategies emerging across the European Union. There's a new bioeconomy stakeholders panel being established. There are regionalisation initiatives taking place in Central and Eastern Europe, in the North and the South, and you'll see that society. The only way to stop an Irishman is either to cut the microphone or get 4 security guards and bring him out. The circular economy goes linear. Anyway, now I won't be too much longer, so whoever's controlling this. So we're at this key moment, and we're in this moment of moving from where we've put in place the strategy, the investment, the tools, we're mobilizing the constituency, we're reaching out to society, and we have the regulatory framework in sight. It's really a moment where we're moving to a new phase in the European bioeconomy strategy. We're shifting into a focus on delivery and investment, the improvement of the policy and regulatory environment, and the mobilization of those who can make this happen. We're widening and deepening the bioeconomy. In this context, as many of you will know, we had a Bioeconomy Investment Summit last November, where we had political momentum at EU and member state level and regional and international level to mobilize the investment in the bioeconomy. We had high-level people from the EU, national regulatory areas, CEOs of enterprises, researchers, investors and civil society stepping up to the plate. And this follows a whole series of if you like, the building blocks of the new bioeconomy. We have the SCAR, the research committee that advises us, producing its foresight report for the first time on the bioeconomy last October, looking at the whole bioeconomy together. In Berlin in November, we had the global bioeconomy community moving, 44 countries developing strategies. So the European Commission is also working to improve the framework conditions so that these investments, these ideas can actually become reality. This means, for example, investigating the regulatory barriers that may exist. Major stakeholders such as our partners in BIC have been consulted, and we're processing these to input and define the next steps. And this is part of, as you're out there as the pioneers of the bioeconomy, you need to feed back to us what it is that regulators need to do or not do to ensure that you can get on with the business of building the bioeconomy. I remember one of my earliest experiences as an official, I won't say who the CEO was, of a very famous new business model company in Europe, was asked by a European Commissioner what could he do best to ensure that his innovation would take place. And his answer was, stay out of my way. Actually, it wasn't as polite as that, but you can guess who the CEO was. The bioeconomy is not only about technological innovation, but it's also about business process innovation, systems innovation, social innovation. That is why, in addition to investments and setting the right framework conditions, we have to get the stakeholder dialogue into the heart of the bioeconomy to make it a success, to make it happen on the ground. We need to generate and share agendas and commitment, create new societal networks, and bring and mobilize our stakeholders together around new value chains and new ideas. And this will be part of what is a very important step. We are reviewing the bioeconomy strategy this year, and by the end of this year we'll be in a position to see, do we need to refocus the bioeconomy strategy, which we've been asked to look at by the Commission next year. Last week, many of you will have been in Utrecht at the 4th Bioeconomy Stakeholders Conference. It was completely different in tone. It wasn't a discussion about what we would like. It was a discussion about what is happening, what people are asking for from society, from investment, from banks, from regions, from member states, from the leaders of research and innovation. And at its core was the development of what is called the Bioeconomy Manifesto. I encourage you here in the room, who are looking at this, who are online, to look at the Bioeconomy Manifesto. This has gathered all the stakeholders of the bioeconomy from research, industry, investment, public authorities, and most importantly from civil society and our societal actors, the cooperatives, the organisations that hold our communities together, around common essential principles for developing an ambitious and, most importantly, a sustainable bioeconomy. If I could ask you one thing, is go and look at that and see is there somebody in your community or in your system who'd be interested in signing up to that. It's not from the European Union, it's been developed by stakeholders, for stakeholders, and it can be a way of building this consensus and taking ownership of tomorrow's bioeconomy. So to conclude, the favourite words a European Commission official can ever use. How does all this today fit in? Today is about making it happen and you working together and talking to one another and thinking about maybe that idea that you wondered, could we do that if we could find other people in the value chain? Could we find the financing? Could we try this? Could we be inventive? Today is about looking at the opportunity that these calls present to invest in your best ideas. So I'd like to underline that we're in a key moment. I mentioned regions on the way through. By the end of this year, the Slovak presidency will have an event on the bioeconomy in the regions. In Poland, there's a mobilization in October also of many bioeconomy regions. We're seeing tens of billions of smart specialization funds being mobilized. So it's a key opportunity. And the calls here are the way in to making it happen. The opportunities are to get close to market development activities. That's what's specific about here. So I'm urging you all, businesses and researchers, innovators, thinkers, wherever you are, whatever it is that you feel your role can be, to look at these calls, respond with first-class quality proposals. We need everybody in here working together. And if we want to be effective in meeting these challenges, this is as good a place to start as any. So to conclude, today is a day to speak, to network, to mobilize, to support, to challenge yourselves. What is it that I can do? With whom do I need to do it? To bring disruptive new ideas, to build a new bioeconomy. Because as we know in Europe, if we're going to become generation sustainability, we need to change the context. And as we remember in Brussels, we're always better together in Europe when we're looking forward and trying to fix the next problem, build the next society. So I wish you every success today and beware of the coffee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Now the next speaker is Dirk Carrez. Dirk is the Executive Director of BIC, the Bio-Based Industries Consortium. Dirk, the floor is yours.
Thank you and good morning. Somebody told me that for tall people, you see, this is nice. So, first of all, welcome. This is in fact the launch of the third call already. So time is really going very fast. As you know, that there will be 7 calls, so we're almost halfway. And in fact, we already started to prepare the 270 call. So, first of all, just as an introduction, what is the Bio-Based Industries Consortium? The Bio-Based Industries Consortium has been established in 2012, and it represents the private sector in the public-private partnership, with, of course, the European Commission being the public partner. Very important, it is a multi-sector organization, and I will show you why. And of course, we have a mission, we have some tasks to do. First of all, we are defining, together of course with the other stakeholders, the strategic research and innovation agenda. We call it also the SIRA. This is, let's say, the framework, the Bible, in which the projects can be funded and defined. At this moment, we are updating the SIRA together with the different stakeholders. BIC is also leading the drafting of the annual work program. That doesn't mean that this is then the final program. Of course, at the end, we need an agreement and with all the partners, meaning BBI and European Commission. But very important, we try to mobilize the stakeholders. And the stakeholders is industry, large industry, but very important also SMEs, and you have seen the importance of the participation of SMEs. We have many innovative SMEs in Europe in the bio-based economy. And also we have quite a lot of SME clusters in the membership. But also we have associate members, so it's very important also to mobilize the research organizations, research universities, but also regions, more and more important, and other stakeholders. We even have now private banks becoming a member, private banks that want to co-invest in these investments. Our focus is also to improve the conditions for access to finance. So BBI Horizon is of course one element, but in Europe, if we really want to attract more investments, it's very important also to mobilize, for instance, regions. And I have to say that more and more regions are involved in a very positive way. And we also want to create, for this reason, awareness at regional level. We have signed a memorandum of understanding with ERIN, and we will sign the memorandum of understanding within 2 weeks or so with the Vanguard initiative. This is very important because we also want to take up the regions in this mobilizing effect. If you look to the members, today we have around 74 members being, let's say, large industries. But as I said, SMEs and the regional clusters. It's not always easy for SMEs to come to Brussels for meetings. So that's why we also agreed that regional clusters, so representing the SMEs, can become a member. And as such, in fact, we don't have 70 members, but we have many more members because these regions represent sometimes 2, 5, but often 10, 15 SMEs. So the role of SMEs is very important. And as I said, more than 150 associate members. More important is the sectors. We are not focusing on one individual sector, but the members are coming from agriculture, agro-food, the food, forestry, pulp and paper, the technology providers, chemical industry, energy, and other sectors, and also more and more brand owners. And this is very important because we really focus on setting up new value chains in Europe, from feedstock to end product, to new applications. And to do this, you really need different stakeholders. It's not one single industry or one individual stakeholder that can do this. We have to bring different stakeholders from different sectors together and let them collaborate. What are the benefits of big membership? I mean, I will skip that. I'm here the whole day. But of course, as I said, drafting the annual work plan is very important. You heard already that being a big member is an advantage if you apply for, if you send in a proposal, not because you're a big member, but because you're better prepared. We're focusing a lot on access to finance, not only BBI, but we also collaborated with the European Investment Bank and more regions. Now, the bio-based economy, I was asked to show you a few numbers. We decided to, on an annual basis, collect some numbers. And if you look to the bio-based, or the bioeconomy in general, this represents a turnover today of a bit more than 2 trillion euro. And as you see today, half of it is coming from the food industry, food and beverages, and let's say 1/4 from the primary sector. And then we have another quarter in general coming from the bio-based industries. If you look now to the bio-based industries itself, then we see that around 15% is coming from, let's say, the bioenergy, biofuel area, and then the chemicals, the forestry, pulp and paper industry is representing the other parts, and this represents around 600 billion euro. So this is not a small sector in Europe. Same for employment. If you look to employment, we have around more than 18 million employees working in the bioeconomy. And we see that the primary sector, agriculture, is very important. Again, if you look to the bio-based industries, more than 3 million people are working in the bio-based industries. And you can see how this is divided. These numbers will be, or these figures will be made available. And also, by the way, available on the website of BIC. So what are the socio-economic impacts? What are the benefits of let's say, an initiative like BBI? Well, first of all, it represents a clear framework. It brings clarity and it brings predictability. And this is very important because BBI, compared to, let's say, the framework program or, let's say, the classical Horizon 2020 program, is focusing a lot on deployment. How can we bring the innovations to the market? How can we set up new value chains in Europe? How can we use the European feedstock and transform that into new products produced in Europe? And to do this, we need investments. And for companies to invest, you need predictability and a clear framework. And it's clear that the BBI and also the budget within the BBI, it is a stable, let's say, framework, and it gives predictability. This is very important. The whole idea of BBI is to develop new value chains, as I said, involving different industrial sectors. It's not only chemical industry, it's not only pulp and paper industry, but today we see that different sectors start to collaborate that were not used to work together. So this joint approach across sectors, across nations, is one of the positive elements of an initiative like the BBI. Today we see that food industry start to collaborate with chemical industry because they want to valorize their waste. We see that pulp and paper industry start to collaborate with other industries because they become more, let's say, pulp companies, and the pulp can be used to produce all kinds of other products. And these sectors were not used to work together. So bringing them together in one consortium, discussing together what kind of projects could be financed, how to create synergies and complementarities is certainly a key element. Another impact is certainly the improved access to finance, and I'm talking here about public finance. As I said, and we heard already, the EIB had an initiative to look what are the hurdles for financing a large infrastructure. But also regions. Regions are more and more involved. We have the smart specialization, we have ESIF, so they want to attract investments. And concerning the industry, of course, we want to leverage further industry investments on top of, let's say, the projects within the BBI. If you look to, for instance, some numbers of investments in Europe, and that's quite important to see, we try to do a survey every year with the big members. So last year, in 2015, the big members had around a bit more than 2 billion investments in the pipeline. If we look to this year, the members, industrial members, of course, they have around 4 billion euros investments in Europe in the pipeline. Investments in mainly demo infrastructure or new flagships. And by the way, I will not go into detail, but around, let's say, 1/4 is linked directly to BBI projects. We heard about in-kind contribution, additional activities, and around a bit more than 3 billion are, let's say, additional investments in projects, but the similar projects as, let's say, BBI. And I just have a few slides as a few cases to explain what is this now. So one of the first, by the way, flagships launched or accepted by the BBI was the first to run. You can find more information on the website of the BBI. And this was really demonstrating how oil crops grown on marginal lands can be used in biorefineries. This is also about the reconversion of old abandoned plants into new plants and producing new bio-based chemicals. In this case, for instance, the total investment was a bit more than 50 million, and 70 million was linked to a BBI project. But this has an impact, and the impact is that indeed local farmers now start to grow again on, let's say, marginal land crops. We see a lower consumption or reduction in the consumption of energy. We see the development of new value chains. We see a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. So these projects have at local level an impact, but also an impact on the economy and an impact on the environment. We can show a few other examples, and again they will be available on the big website. A project which is not directly linked to, for instance, a BBI project is the production of levulinic acid. It's more, let's say, a large demo project. Investments of 30 million, and here we see indeed that this kind of investment creates new jobs, greenhouse gas emission reductions, developing new value chains, and again cultivating crops on land which is normally unsuitable for normal farming. One of the larger investments in Europe the last few years is in the pulp and paper industry. It's the Metsä bioproduct mill. It's an investment of 1.2 billion euro. The investment started in 2015. This will create 2,500 jobs, give a boost to at least the Finnish export. There will be environmental benefits, and on top of that, new value chains will be built using the pulp from that mill to produce new kind of products. So there is a direct impact, but there is certainly also an indirect impact of the BBI and projects that are linked to the BBI. We now have the second call. I think once the grant agreements will be signed, we will have more examples to show, but it's certainly going in the good direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dirk. And the next speaker and the last speaker for this first session of today is Agata Pieniadz. Agata is a project manager at BBI JU, and she will explain you what are the novelties of the call 2016. Agata, the floor is yours.
Next to the microphone.
Good morning. Okay, now it's working. Thank you very much once again for coming to this event. I am very happy to see many also famous and faces we have seen already last year, and also many new faces here. So I'm really happy that we have really this great audience today. In this session, I would like to focus on the call 2016, and actually in this part I will explain two main parts. The first one I will focus on the novelties in this year, and then I will go to the content. Let me start with the first part, where we are now. So we are in the call 2016, and this is the third call in a total of 7 calls which we planned for the period between 2014 and 2020. There are different reasons, different parts which influence the design of the call 2016. Of course, SIRA, the Strategic Innovation and Research Agenda, is the guiding documents we have, but we also observe that there are different drivers which specifically in this year influenced the design of 2016 call. So what do we have? We have a lot of changes in the environmental, operational environment of BBI JU. And we heard in the previous presentations that there is a lot of political debate about circular economy, about decarbonization of the economy. So we really have to stronger also address those aspects in our calls. We have developments in the market. So we have already heard about the competition between fossil-based and bio-based products. So we see the need to focus stronger on new functionalities to make the bio-based products much more competitive, and not because of the price competitiveness, but much more about the new functionalities, which will also lead to a kind of differentiation strategy and enable also the stakeholders involved in the markets to generate benefits. We also observe that there are new stakeholders which are interested in joining the BIC and the initiative. So we heard from Dirk that there is a new interest coming from different sectors, from marine sector, from food industry. So we really have to be even much more open than before to attract the new members and new applicants. Then we have a second driver, which is for us the need to accelerate the developments towards meeting the objectives and our impacts. So already now we are in the process of reviewing where we are. And we have seen that we really have to accelerate the process, which means we put much more focus on the impact in this call. So you will see it in the topics that there is much more impact, focus on the impact that it was before, and linked to clear KPIs, key performance indicators. And of course we have the standard input coming each year from our stakeholders. So we conduct stakeholders consultations, and it's not only industry, we have also scientific committee which is giving us advice. We have also representatives from member states and from associated countries, and I've seen here also faces from those groups, so thank you for coming here and sharing this event with us. Those people are really giving us advice each year on the scientific priorities, and the state representative groups especially also on the needs which are seen in the region. So it's a very important part for us to design the calls. Moving to the CIRA, which is still for us the guiding document for calls we design. As Dirk said before, there is a lot also of issues ongoing. So we have already ongoing consultations which started last year more or less on the CIRA update, and we see that there are a lot of elements which are really still valid. So if you remember from the previous call, we focused usually on 4 value chains. These were the lignocellulosic value chain, agro-based, forest-based value chains, and the one dealing with organic waste. Those elements are still valid, and represent also the interests of the industry. But what we also see that there are some adjustments needed, and this is especially because we really have to widen the scope in terms of feedstock, technologies, new industrial sectors, and especially new application areas. And we have to cross the borders of the existing value chains and creating new value chains. So this is what we see and we hear from the stakeholders. So it's really something where we have to move on. Already now, those discussions have impact on the call 2016. You will see in the topic, in the description, that we have introduced new areas, or we focus much more on the new areas. One of the examples is the aquatic biomass. We have also bio-based products, a strong focus on the bio-based products with new functionalities which can be relevant for different market applications, not only in bioeconomy as such, but also we see the application for automotive sectors, for medical sectors, for construction. So actually there is a huge potential for new markets. And of course, the one issue which was a little bit seen as a restriction last year, it was that we focused clear on one value chain. So this time we don't have the restriction. We open the value chains. There is no numbering to a specific value chain. And we hope that through this, we will support the cross-sectoral integration. So this is new for this year. What is the strategic orientation specifically for this call? The call more or less retains the 4 strategic orientations or priorities which we had last year. So we have the 3 priorities representing the 3 stages of the value chain: feedstock, technologies and processes, and market demand. And we have one priority which is crossing the 3 vertical lines, and this is about cross-sectoral integration, and this along and across the value chain. So we constructed the topics and the possible topics in this year that we can address the different challenges in the different priority areas, but also combining the different areas in along and across the chains. How do we implement the annual work plan and the calls? Nothing new. There is no change regarding the types of action as compared to the previous year. We follow the general Horizon 2020 rules and the classification, which means we have research and innovation actions, we have innovation actions, and we have coordination and support actions. A novelty in our program is, which is the same as last year, that within the innovation actions we differentiate between demonstration and flagship. Let me move a little bit. What is the difference between the research and innovation actions? So here the same principles applies as before. There is a link between type of action and the technology readiness level, and the technology readiness levels show us how much is the technology mature and close or not close to the market. So basically we use the same scheme which is in Horizon 2020, and you can find the same classification in the general annexes to Horizon 2020 regulation between TRL 1, basic principles observed, and TRL 9, which is about actual system proven in operation environment, and it's actually more or less a commercial company. In BBI JU, we are restricting a little bit the field of action, and we have the research innovation actions which are addressing work and actions between TRL 3, which is about experimental proof of concept, and TRL 5, which is about technology which is validated at the pilot scale. And what is new in the Call 2016 is that we clearly say that we expect the TRLs not to be up to 5, but we expect them to be between TRL 3 and 5. So this is something what we introduced this year just to make it clear that we want to have more or less applied research close to application. What is new in Call 2016? So we see that is even more focus on impact, and this is what you will hear in many of our presentations. BBI JU offers an industry-driven program, which means for a real impact, we really expect the participation of the industry, and the participation means that the ideas have to come from the industry, that the gaps have to be defined by the industry and also the relevant markets, but also we expect to have financial contributions, because our assumption is the more financial contribution is coming from the industry, the higher is the ownership and the higher is the likelihood that the products will really, really reach the market. So we really expect to have the industrial participation here. And what we see from the past, that it indeed improves the overall quality of the proposals, and we give special points for that in the expected impact. Contribution to BBI key performance indicators. You will find, if you know SIRA, the Strategic Innovation and Research Agenda, a list of key performance indicators. So we have objectives and we have specific indicators. And this year, this is new, we introduce in the expected impact specific KPIs, and in each proposal, and we expect each proposal to explain how it will contribute to the specific KPIs. Let me maybe spend 1 minute on the KPIs and the link to the objectives. So you have heard that our objective is to contribute to sustainable and competitive bio-based industries in Europe. We have specific objectives, which is about demonstrating the technologies leading to products, materials, building blocks. We have another specific objective dealing with development of business models and, of course, setting up flagship biorefinery plants. How does it work with the KPIs? SIRA defines 7 KPIs, which we use actually at the KPIs, where we transform the ideas and the expectation to the projects. For example, KPI 1 is about new cross-sector interconnections. KPI 2 is about new bio-based value chains. 3, cooperation projects. 4, 5, and 6, it's about new building blocks, new materials, new products. And KPI 7 is about setting up flagships. So you will find those KPIs in the SIRA. And those KPIs this year are also seen in the Call 2016. And if you open a topic, you will see at the end of the expected impact the numbers. So just to let you know that, for example, KPI 1 is addressed in 11 topics, KPI 2 in 17. So please have a look. It's really important. This will be evaluated this year. Let me move to the second block of the presentation, which is actually about what is inside the topic, what is inside the Call 2016. I will spend only a few minutes because this is 100 pages, and I really invite you to have a look at the details. So just let me start maybe with the budget. You have seen already the numbers before. This year we have devoted almost 190 million euro to the call. This is the BBI JU budget. 1/3 of the money is going more or less to the research innovation actions. It's 15 million, and 70% of the money is coming to the innovation actions, which is the demonstration, flagship 1, flagship 2, and there is also some money dedicated to coordination and support actions. This is one part of the story. We expect that the BBI JU budget will also leverage private investments, and this year we expect that at least 110 million will be activated as in-kind contribution coming from private sector. Few words about the different types of actions. Research and innovation actions in Call 2016. to repeat once again, this is about filling a specific gap in the value chain by developing a technology or validating a technology in a laboratory level or in the pilot scale, which is about relevant and environment. So in this year we expect that at least the RIAs will produce at the end results which can be seen at the level of TRL 3, which is the proof of concept, but you have still different kinds of possibilities, and each topic describes exactly what is expected from a specific action. Each topic describes exactly what is expected from the submitted proposals. We have 12 topics which have also different focus. Usually this is exactly about filling the specific gap in a specific part of the value chain. For example, you will find topic R1, which is dealing with feedstock. It's about valorization of wastewater as a feedstock. We have also focus on the municipal solid waste, which is also covering the part of the value chain close to feedstock. We have also RIA topics focusing on the aquatic biomass. Few of the topics have a specific focus on the processing, and then we have topics dealing with fermentation processes, control of contamination, but also separation and purification. These are few examples showing that we try with those RIAs to fill really a gap in a specific part of the value chain. We have also stronger focus on markets and products, and you will find also among the topics, for example, topic R5, dealing with advanced biomaterials for food packaging, and another one which is dealing with biopolymers with advanced functionalities, and you will see in the text description that those functionalities might be relevant for different markets, for biomedical markets, for automotive markets. So there is really like supporting the cross-sectoral integration within the broad scope of the bioeconomy. So the budget you have seen before is about 15 million, and we consider the total eligible budget per proposal is between 2 and 5 million. And additional to this, we expect, of course, that the large industry, which is not eligible for the funding in the RIAs, will contribute. So we have big expectation here. Demonstration. Demonstration comes after research and innovation. So once you have the technology validated, you integrate the technology to demonstrate. And we can demonstrate the technology again in a relevant area, operational area, or in the environmental, relevant environmental area. And we talk here about different parts of integration of technologies or sub-processes to have actually a kind of demo plant at the end of the project. We have 9 demonstration actions in this call 2016, and here also you can see sometimes specific focus on the feedstock, like the topic dealing with industrial crop and novel sources of biomass. We have also topic which focus more on the processing, like the topic dealing with biorefinery concepts for underexploited areas. And we have also some topics which exclusively focus on the markets and products, which is like about polymers, plastic materials with new functionalities. And then you can find again different application examples in the topic: biomedical, textile, automobile, and construction sector. So again, place for developing new functionalities to move away from the price competition from fossil-based products to a much more differentiation strategy. So these topics are offering this. But here in the innovation actions, it's important also to stress that it's not only focus on one stage of the value chain. So we expect all proposals to address the whole value chain from the feedstock sourcing to market application. And again, this element is also one of the criterion in the evaluation. So you have really to demonstrate that the whole value chain is covered. Here we have the budget, 70 million, and we consider that the total eligible budget is up to 15 million per proposal. Within this 15 million, you have 70%, which is the part reimbursed from BBI JU, and at least 30% within the 15 million we expect to come from the industry. So this is again, big expectation from our side to the industry. Flagship. Once the technology is demonstrated, it has to be deployed. So this is flagship. This is about demonstrating and bringing a kind of a complete and qualified system at the end of the project, which can be also successful for commercial operation. So we talk here about integrated biorefineries, large-scale production facilities, and of course we wish to see those plants in Europe. So it's a strong focus on deployment of the research and technology and the innovation in Europe. In 2016 call, we have 2 flagships, and both of them, they focus strong on the high-value products. F1 is the topic which is also quite innovative this year because it's focusing on the waste streams and byproducts from food industry, so it's a kind of novelty in this year. We haven't had such topic before. Here we plan to have it's budgeted to have 40 million for this topic, and we expect that there is place for 2 projects. Another flagship is also focusing on bio-based feedstock towards delivering high added value products. Here we consider that the BBI JU budget is 25 million and the total eligible budget is up to 35 million. Here again the difference is that within the 35 millions we expect to have the 25 coming from BBI JU and at least 30% coming from the industry. It's the in-kind contribution. There is also another kind of types of actions we have, coordination and support action. Here, those actions are mostly devoted to support the value chains, to support the development through different means which can support the networking, communication, integrating across and along value chains. And we have in Call 2016 4 actions. Just to quickly go through them. The first one is a roadmap for the chemical industry to a bioeconomy. Another one, CSA's work, is devoted to the open access research infrastructure. We have S3, which is about open innovation platform, and we have also another CSA, which is devoted to clustering and networking for new value chains. So the total budget is 3.5 million. And more or less the budget per proposal is either 1 million or $500,000, so just have a look at the topics once again. What about the timing? Just to summarize this, the call has been opened 2 days ago, so you can have a look at all documents. You can already start experimenting how to submit the proposal because the submission module is open too. We have published the topics actually already in December 2015, which actually gave you also some opportunities to prepare already for building the proposal. So now it's official online. You can start submitting. The submission deadline is the 8th of September, and 5 months after the proposal submission deadline, we will send the first information about the outcome of the evaluation process. This is expected to be by the 8th of February 2017, and 8 months after the proposal submission deadline is the official time we can sign. We have to sign the first grant agreement. So this will bring us to the point that by May 2017 we will have signed the grant agreement. So this is our timing. Last slide. Few messages to take with you. So what we would like you to say, this is a very, very inclusive call. So there is really something for actors in the bio-based industry and beyond. So please feel free to have a look at the topics. We have research innovation actions, CSA, and there is place for industry, but also for academia, for SMEs, from NGOs, for all kinds of stakeholders who are interested in the bio-based industries. We offer new opportunities in this call. We focus more and more on new areas which are not so far addressed in the strategic innovation and research agenda. One example is aquatic biomass. We go also, which is research innovation actions. In the demonstration actions, we bring a topic about new varieties for dedicated crops. and also in the flagship where we focus on the waste coming from industry. So there is a lot of novelties dealing with the areas. We open actually the chains, which means there are new opportunities to make also like through the cross-cutting, so which means that maybe stakeholders, industries which were not working before together, they will start working together and discover there is something what they can deliver on the market. And today is the day also like that you can find maybe new colleagues, new potential applicants or just partners of your consortium. So please feel free to network and to be innovative on how to much more make the cross-cutting opportunities realistic. Another opportunities are coming also from the support, strong support for developing of new functionalities, and this is one of the big ideas which will follow us, and we will have to live with this for the future. We really have to strengthen the competitiveness of the bio-based products, and this is one of the important places where we will devote more and more focus in the future. Last but not least, the program is about impact, and you will hear about this in many presentations today, so I will not repeat, but please, while writing your proposal, keep in mind that this is about impact, and this is my last word I would like to say during this presentation. And once again, thank you for the attention, and I wish you really very nice and very fruitful discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you, Agata. We are perfectly on time. It's now time for question. I'm just watching on my computer, and I don't see yet any question from our audience online. I have the confirmation we have still 100 people online for the time being, but probably the question will be rather for the second session of this morning. So now, are there questions from the audience? Yes, please. Can I ask you to push the button, introduce yourself, and we hear the question. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Marta Conde, National Contact Point from Spain. I have a question regarding the closing date of the call, because if you see the documents that are in the participant portal, the guide for applicants and the annual work plan, the closing date is the 15th of September. So it may confuse applicants. What will you do with this? Thank you.
I think this is, well, it was an indicative time why we put the 15th of September. And the reason why we shifted it before is because we have some time pressure with the evaluation afterwards. And it was a decision just to decide to have on the 8th of September. And we are communicating actually the date everywhere. And it was, in overview, a kind of still of something what will not delay or maybe put much more pressure on the applicants, so was accepted as 1 week in advance, which is also possible based on the indicative time which we put in the annual work plan.
Are there other questions? I remind you that during the lunch and during the afternoon we will have an info booth where most of the speakers will be, so you can already address your question, and there of course we will have more time to go into more detail. Yeah, yes please.
Good morning, my name is Karel Vaska from the EPS company, Czech Republic. I actually would like to have a question to you, Mr. Mengal. You have mentioned a very nice statistics regarding the success rate of the applicants, and you have mentioned that the BIC membership was very beneficial for the success. My question is, do you have any statistics on that, what the percentage was?
Yes, I've got some statistics, but I didn't present them here. For instance, for the call 2015.2, we observed that the proposal where the coordinator was a big member, there we have 50% success rate specifically for those proposals, which is significantly higher than the overall success rate. And I just have to remind that the main reason for this is that first of all, big members, of course, they contribute to the definition of the topic, so they're really part of the game. They are part of the network, so that's a good way to build a very good network. And of course, they receive early information. And I have also to remind that BBI Call are managed under the rules of Horizon 2020, and one of it is the openness. So it's open to all applicants, but big membership help. It's significant. No, yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Lara Dammer. I'm from Nova Institute in Germany, and I have a question about the key performance indicators that Agata mentioned, because there has been some confusion in one of the BBI projects we started already. And usually an indicator is something measurable, but for me these key performance indicators still sound quite general and open. And if you have any guidance or any ideas of or what you expect in terms of measurableness, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. We are aware it's not easy to measure the KPIs. This is why we try also to cooperate quite close with the coordinators, especially from the first call, because it was not requested indeed to contribute concretely to a KPI. So we have defined 7 KPIs which come from CIRA. We also conducted a kind of meeting with the coordinators and had a kind of proposition how we are going to break down the KPIs from the program level to project level. And we received from the coordinators actually feedback that it's quite easy if we just are going only to calculate the numbers of new products, new chemical blocks to deliver the products. It's true, it's not so easy if we try to go much more deeper in the data, because then we have the problem with collecting data from the projects, combining the data between the project, and of course making kind of indicators. So we are working on that, and our strategy is just to consult the coordinators from the first call and the second call again in summer this year, and to give a kind of specific guidelines how we expect to the projects to also report to us also in an annual period. So it's true it's not easy for us also to define everything, but we are also having likely as Nova Institute as one beneficiary in our consortium. So I think we might come back to you also. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and I have now a question online here from Claire Klassen, Head of European Program. And the question is, please, could you advise if there are any fees or payment that are due to BIC upon being awarded a successful project? So I think it's a question for Dirk.
Thank you. So maybe first to explain, BIC membership is not for free. And why? Because BBI is an independent office. And that means also that it has to be financed. I think we have 21 persons in total. Half of it is financed by the EC, and the other half is financed by BIC. And the way BIC is financing, let's say, the BBI office is partially with membership fee, so the BIC membership fee, and partially, indeed, what we propose is a project contribution, a small project contribution. I will just explain why, and I can explain more, let's say, during the break. But of course, as we heard, projects or BBI, the call is open for BIC members and not BIC members. So it's very important. You don't have to be a BIC member and pay a BIC membership fee to send in a good proposal. And we have some good proposals also by non-BIC members. On the other hand, of course, we also thought that those benefiting a bit more should also contribute a bit more in financing the BBI office. And third, and this is very important for RIA projects, as you have heard, and you will hear this also after the break. For RIA projects, we agree that large industry is not receiving any funding. So the total budget for the RIA is going to universities, RTUs. And for this reason, we thought it was very fair that all, let's say, beneficiaries participate a bit in the financing of the BBI office. But this is a small amount, so it's a fixed fee which is around more or less at this moment 3 to 4% of, let's say, the grant, more or less. But again, this is a discussion then between BIC and the projects.
Okay, thank you. Are there other questions? Yes, please.
Hello, Simone Maccaferri, University of Bologna. I'm coming back to the point of the funding for large industries Dirk was mentioning. You mentioned that it is expected the leverage about the funding of large industries of about 40-50% in the total BBI budget. Regarding the RIAs, is there specific written rules about the funding of large industries, or is there a reasonable degree of flexibility about the in-kind contribution? Because, for example, we are involved in different projects. Someone are taking mostly the needs of large industries. It is easier also to go more than 50% of in-kind contribution. Others are responding to the needs of SMEs, and it's more difficult to have large industries involved, and then the co-funding in kind is much more difficult to be solved. What do you think about that? Thank you.
So you correctly indicated that in the whole BBI, let's say, budget over the 10 years, that the amount of commission, let's say, and the amount of industry should be more or less similar. So the amount of in-kind in projects. But this is the overall budget. So this is not the case for individual projects. It's very difficult. Some projects will have more large industry. Some projects will only have SMEs where you don't have this 50-50. So in the individual projects, it is not the case that there should be a 50-50, let's say, budget, half of it coming from industry, half, let's say, public funding. But of course, we should try to have in all projects at least some in kind. Otherwise, after 10 years, the whole picture will not be very good. But it's not an obligation for every individual project. Let's be very clear.
Maybe we have room for a last question. No question? Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Mathieu Tilquin. I work for Tech21, a research center in France working on process engineering and mechanics. My question is to Agata. You've shown on one of your slides the range of technology readiness levels that are covered by the project, and it seems to me that there has been a shift down towards lower TRL. Is it true? And if yes, what's the reason for that? Well, it's quite a good news for us research centers, but...
Well, actually, there is no shift. We keep more or less the same categorization. In the previous topics, we were, because it's only linked to the RIAs, in the previous calls, we were also expecting the RIAs to be into the level up to 5. And just to make it clear that we really would like to have much more than just TRL 1 and 2, we just restricted to TRL 3 and 5. So it's true that we expect to have as much as advanced technology as possible, but there is no shift down. So actually, if we even expect TRL 3, so we want the project to focus on the proof of concept, so we really want to have a proof of concept being delivered at the end of the project. So it's not reducing, it's just making much more clear what we expect. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much. It's now time for a coffee break. Can I ask you to come back here in the room and online, of course, in a quarter of an hour so that we can start the second session at 11:20. And I have to really thank the speakers of this first session. Thank you very much. Thank you, Glenn.
I'm one of the BIC SMEs, full member.
Okay, let's start the second part, please. Okay, so let's start on time. Let's try. Can you please take your seat? We will start. Okay. So, we have to start. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the second part, session number 3, which will cover all practicalities of putting together a proposal, and we will share with you some tips to help you through the preparation and submission stages of your future application. First of all, Elissa Tesseli, project manager at BBI, will present the BBI rules for participation, the call condition, and give you some important information about the evaluation process to explain, in fact, what happens once a proposal has made it through the eligible check. Then, Poliviosa Giangu, our call coordinator at BBI, will explain how to use the Horizon 2020 participant portal to access information about specific topics and how to use the portal to submit your proposal, as well as the sort of help you can ask for, you can expect while using this portal. Dieter Brickta, also a BBI JU project manager, will provide you with some useful tips and tricks on how to write a good proposal. This covers both how to present your consortium and your ideas to tackle the challenges presented in the call topics. Then we will welcome Peter Axgard, Vice President for Bioeconomy Strategy with a Swedish company Inventia. Peter and his team were very involved in putting together a successful proposal which resulted in one of our first BBI research and innovation project called Green Light. He will share some good lessons learned on using networks to make a successful consortium and their consortium's experience in turning the Green Light proposal into a successful BBI ongoing project. Our final speaker is our BBI partnering platform expert, Momé Velvede. This is now the second year that Momé has been working with BBI JU to provide potential applicants interested in BBI Call with a really effective tool for growing your professional network. He will explain how to use the BBI JU partnering platform and the brand new BBI JU partnering mobile app to network by arranging some face-to-face meetings with other participants here today during this afternoon's brokerage event. There will be then an opportunity after the five presentations, for specific questions from the audience, but also from people online. And we have asked already Marta Campos-Iturralde, our legal manager at BBI, to already join the round table. I remind you that during the networking lunch that will take place at 1 p.m., you will have the opportunity to make new contact as well as circulate between the different info booths who have kindly agreed to support us today. The info booths are situated in the foyer there, and we have organized a broad and comprehensive representation of different organizations we think you might be interested in. Please feel free to approach them for detail or relevant for details of relevant initiative and programs which are complementary to BBI activities. You will find there several booths. One is from BioHorizon National Contact Point project. The European Regional Research and Innovation Network, ERIN, is there too. Enterprise Europe Network is there. The European Network for Rural Development is there too. We also have a booth for the Bio-based Industry Consortium, the private partner in BBI JU, and a booth dedicated to synergies with other programs, which will include the Spire Public-Private Partnership, with whom BBI has already established a joint working group, the European Agency for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise EASM is there too, and the European Commission represented by DG RTD. There is also a BBI JU Program Office info booth there, staffed by the BBI JU team, who can help with any further process and procedure question you would have for us. But I have to say that you have to be aware that in the interest of transparency, BBI JU cannot provide advice on how to interpret the topics, neither to provide a kind of a critical analysis of ideas of proposal you would have, and this because this would be clearly a conflict of interest. The afternoon session is dedicated to helping participants to grow their professional network, with the aim of encouraging collaboration between you in order to answer our 2016 call for proposal. There is still, as I said early this morning, time to sign up using the BBI partnering platform, either via your computer or the mobile device you would have by downloading the BBI partnering app. You will find in the foyer, the entrance, the BBI JU partnering help desk there, which is yes, close to the entrance. So do not hesitate to approach Mome to make sure you get the most out of this BBI brokerage event, which I can say is already successful in terms of registration. Just to say that for the time being, we have already more than 400 face-to-face meetings that are already scheduled, and it is growing. And in these 400 face-to-face meetings, it's about 170 different organizations that have applied. So this session will start at 2 o'clock and will be accompanied with a signal each 15 minutes, which will announce the change of the meeting. But Mobe will get back to this with more detail. So it's now time for the presentation as such. I welcome Elisa Tesselli, Project Manager at BBI. Elisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I have the easy task because just after the coffee, I'm sure you are all very awake. So this morning you have seen what we finance, what BBI finance. Now it's time to see how we finance your projects. Meaning, I will walk you through the rules for participation, the call conditions, and how your project arrives to the signature of the grant agreement, which I'm very confident that many of you will reach at that stage. So, the rules for the participations. As previously said, we are operating under Horizon 2020. This means that we are following the rules for participation of Horizon 2020, with one single derogation that we have already spoken about. It's about the large industries which do not receive funding in RIAs and CSAs, meaning that they are really not eligible for funding in RIAs and CSA. All the information I will give you now in my presentation, you can find everything in our documents on our website. We have our annual work plan where you find all the legal information about our calls, how to apply. Then we have also a guide for applicants for our calls 2016. And then during the years, we also gathered all the questions from your side, to which we replied in a dedicated document, the frequently asked questions document that you also find on our website. So, who can apply to our calls? Any legal entities that are like, for example, big or small companies, research organizations, universities, NGOs. And what is a legal entity? A legal entity is a natural or legal person which is registered under a national law. Very simple. Now you might wonder about the dimension of your consortium, how big your consortium should be. Actually, the dimension of the consortium depends also on the topic. But, however, we have some, let's say, some general rules. So, for RIA and innovation actions, we request 3 legal entities being present in the consortium coming from 3 different member states or associated countries. All the entities must be independent from each other. This is not the case for the CSA, where you can have also a consortium made by a single legal entity. In the consortium, there is also the possibility of having international organizations and third countries. This is in case you think that international organizations or partners coming from third countries are bringing added value to your consortium and are performing tasks that other participants cannot do. But in this case, you should be aware that nor international organizations nor partners coming from third countries are eligible for funding. So they can be included in the consortium, but they cannot request funding. So this is just a short overview about let's say, a typical project according to the type of action. For the CSA, we have projects that, here you see that since CSAs are projects that are not linked to the technology, let's say, there are coordination and support actions, there is no reference to the TRL, of course. So the duration of a typical project under the CSA is between 1 and 3 years. And the reimbursement rate is 100%. For RIAs, for the research innovation actions, the TRL is from 3 to 5, and the duration of these projects are usually up to 4 years. And here the funding rate is again 100%, with some exceptions that I will tell you about just in a minute. Then we have the innovation actions that are divided between demonstrations and flagship. These are corresponding to TRL from 6 to 8, and the typical duration of a project, of an innovation action project, is from 4 to 5 years, and the reimbursement rate is 70%. So I was talking about some exception on the funding rates. Indeed, as we have said, large industries are not eligible for funding in RIAs and CSA, whilst are eligible to 70% of funding in innovation actions. For SMEs, the situation is slightly different. They are eligible for 100% in RIAs and CSA and for 70% in innovation actions. All the non-profit legal entities, meaning universities, RTOs and NGOs, they are always eligible for funding, for 100% funding in all type of actions. Here it's just an example of the financial regime under the RIA and CSA. Here, as you can see, so that you know how to, let's say, to fill the budget table. So here, as you can see, large industries, they're not eligible for funding. So what does it happen? That in the reimbursement rate, you go in the drop-down menu, and you will see that there is not NA not applicable, because if you have large industries, you shouldn't receive funding from BBI. So you have to include your costs, but then in the maximum grant and requested grant would be zero. In this case, it means that the contribution of the financial contribution of industry, all the total eligible costs from industry, we consider that as consortium own contribution, because it's the part that doesn't get funded by the BBI. Here, it's the financial regime for the innovation actions, where you can see that the RTOs have the right to have 100% reimbursement of their costs, and then you have the SMEs, which request 70% of their eligible costs, and then you have large industries, which are eligible to the 70% of their eligible costs. In this case, if, you don't need to be very skilled in math, you will see that the amount of requested grant doesn't correspond to the 70%. Because it is possible. You are not obliged to ask the maximum of the funding rate. You can also ask less. We save money and you show that you are committed to the project. So in this case, actually, large industry asked 46%. That difference between this 46% and the 70% is, again, the consortium own contribution, because it's not funded from us, and you are showing commitment to the project. So what is this consortium own contribution, in case it was not clear from the example? First of all, why do we care about the consortium own contribution? Because, as Philippe clearly explained previously, the BBI policy is to leverage private investments. So it's a public-private partnership, so the public side is investing money, but the private side has to show the commitment, to show also its financial commitments. That's why we are expecting to have financial contributions from the industry. So we can have three types of own contribution. In kind, and these are exactly the examples I've just showed you. So when you are not eligible for funding, the total eligible costs that, for which you are not actually asking for funding, this is in-kind contribution. Then it can also happen that you request less than the funding rate. The difference is your in-kind contribution. Then you have in cash, that's very straightforward. It's the cash contribution given to one or more partners. And then we have the additional investments. What are the additional investments? Additional investments are all those activities and investments that are happening outside the project. So these are not part of the project, but they help maximizing the impact of the project. Why do we have this concept of additional investments, which is very peculiar? You don't find this concept in Horizon 2020. It's because when we were created, when this public-private partnership was created, the industry, Dirk, the industry committed itself to place, let's say, to invest 1.7 billion in additional investments. How do we translate, how do we calculate this 1.7 billion at a program level? We basically count all the additional investments happening within the projects. Additional investments are not an obligation in your proposal. I mean, you are not obliged to have additional investments. However, you can realize that additional investments are helping us to achieving the target of the initiative. So they are very important and they are crucial because they are really showing the commitment from industry to the initiative. These are not eligible for funding, of course, because they are not within the project, they are not part of the project. They are investments happening outside the project, helping the project in a way, but not within the project. So you cannot place the additional investments within your budget table. But you are requested to describe them. It's not enough if you write in your proposal that you will have 500,000 euro additional investments. Just give a bit more of details about what these additional investments are. You put the amount and then you give a short description about the additional investments, because all these will be evaluated, positively evaluated, at the evaluation, during the evaluation stage under the criterion impact. Then, just to recap, before passing to the evaluation part of the presentation. So, the financial regime in BBI Joint Undertaking calls. We are a private-public partnership, right? So, it's an industry-driven program. Therefore, the participation of industry is crucial. In RIAs and CSAs, there is no funding for large industries. This is very specific of the BBI and is not the case for Horizon. In innovation actions, the reimbursement rate is, like in Horizon, 70%. Then the contribution from the consortium own contribution matters, and this can be translated in you requesting less funding than the funding rate, or you adding additional investment to your project. This really takes your project to a positive evaluation, at least under the impact criterion. Now we pass to the evaluation of your proposal. The evaluation process is, let's say, the part that you don't see. You see, I mean, now you have seen 2 days ago the calls were published. It's public information. Then you find your call, you form your consortium, you present your proposal by the call deadline. After the call deadline, what happens? And here is the second arrow that I'm going to describe you. What happens after you submit your call, your proposal, and how to reach the stage of the grant agreement signature. So basically, when we receive, after a call deadline, we receive all the proposals. We do an admissibility check. Basically, we check that your proposal has been submitted via the participant portal, that is complete, and of course by the call deadline, it goes without saying, and that the length of your proposal is within the page limit. There is a page limit to respect. You can still submit proposals longer than let's say, foreseen, but be aware that we will instruct evaluators to read until the page limit, so don't make extra efforts because they won't be read. Then we go to the eligibility check of your proposal, meaning that we check that the content of your proposal is in line with the topic text. And then, of course, that minimum standard conditions are respected. In the case of RIAs and innovation actions, that the 3 legal entities from 3 different member states are present in the consortium. Then we pass to the evaluation of your proposal. We do organize evaluations with 3 independent experts that, as a first step, they work individually, remotely, at home. They write a report on your proposal, and they evaluate your proposal against the 3 Horizon 2020 evaluation criteria. So excellent impacts and implementation. Then we have the consensus group. We call all the experts to come to Brussels, what we call the consensus meeting. They come to Brussels, they discuss your proposal all together, and they always, I must say, come to an agreement on your proposal with a beautiful report on your proposal where they are, let's say, putting their conclusions on your proposal. This year, for this year call, for flagship, we have foreseen hearings. Only for flagship. This will be, let's say, compulsory, let's say. So this will be held most probably in October. You will receive, the coordinator will receive the questions from the experts in advance so that they can get prepared. And just to briefly tell you what a hearing is basically to give to the experts the occasion to, let's say, to have a more in-depth conversation with you on your proposal. So most probably they will focus on TRL and business plan, where usually there are some, let's say, lacks in the proposals, lacks of information in the proposal. But please be aware that hearings are not the place where you can introduce new elements in your proposal. This won't happen. The expert will only ask you questions on what is written in the proposal. You cannot add new elements. Then after the consensus meetings, and in case of flagship after the hearings, we have a list of proposals eligible for funding, meaning that we have a list of proposals that passed the threshold. From this list, we rank all the proposals from the ones that scored the best to the ones that scored, let's say, the lowest, always above the threshold. And we, according to the budget availability, we allocate the budget to the winning proposals. Then we send the evaluation letter with the results of the evaluation, and for the successful proposals, we start the grant agreement preparation. That will lead you to the grant signature. As already explained, we have a deadline for the grant agreement signature, meaning 8 months after the call closure. So it means that by the 8th of May 2017, we will sign, hopefully, a lot of grant agreements with you. Then my last part. Now you might wonder, why should you participate? Why should you apply to a call, to a BBI call? First of all, if you have expertise in biomass, biorefineries, bioproducts and services, please take in serious consideration to apply to our calls. Because also applying to our calls gives you the opportunity to work with other partners you would otherwise you wouldn't have worked with, because these are European projects. So, but I see you're not very convinced, so I would like to be just a bit more inspiring than that. So you can apply to our calls because you would contribute with your proposal, with your project, to build a post-petroleum society. And so you will really contribute to the climate and energy objectives of the European Union. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Elisa. So it's now time for the next speaker, Polyvios Adjiangou, who is the call coordinator of BBI JU.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would also like to welcome you to our Information Day, and I hope that you will find it enjoyable and useful until the end. During the previous presentation, Elisa described the rules for participation, the call condition, and the evaluation process. Actually, the bottom blue arrow. Here, in this presentation, I will mostly describe to you the other part of the process, the applicant's process, where you should take into consideration all the steps in order to submit successfully a proposal to BBI. I would say that this presentation will be mostly focused to the people that are new in the process. But due to the fact that I will give some technical tips through the participant portal and some other information, this will be very interesting for all of you. Indeed, at the end, it's not really enough if you have a brilliant proposal or idea. The thing that you have to follow at the end is a structural process, and this idea should be formed in a structural proposal. And then the step that you have to follow is first to find a call that corresponds to your idea. Then you should find a partner. Then you should register all the organizations in the relevant IT database, and then you submit the proposal to BBI. Here you can see the participant portal, which is the European Commission IT tool supporting various EU programs, including the one of H2020. Please be aware that BBI Joint Undertaking is not the European Commission, but we're using the same facilities during this process. By clicking on the funding opportunities, you can start searching for calls. Since BBI is operating under H2020, you go to the specific area of H2020, you include the BBI acronym, and then you filter the calls, and then the BBI call, which is recently published, is pop up. Then you click on the relevant button, and then you will be directed to the call environment. Here you can see the call summary and the call updates that I advise you to consult regularly, because all the updates will be officially communicated to you through the participant portal. On top, you will see the 27 topics for this call. Since you will choose the topic that you are interested in, then you will be directed to the topic environment. Here you can see the fundamental information for each topic. For example, the opening date, the publication date, the budget, and the deadline date. The deadline date here is the official, which is communicated to you because it's published to the official journal of the European Union. There are also 3 other tabs that you should pay special attention. Is the topic description, where you can see the scope, the expected impact, and the specific challenge. Secondly, you will see the topic condition and documents and how you get support during this process. At the second tab, you can find the topic condition and documents, where you can see all the necessary information regarding the call and some technical tips that you can follow during this process. I would like to highlight the point 5, provision, templates, and evaluation forms. Here, you cannot find the templates, will be available only when you go through the submission system. Nevertheless, the templates are available now, the guide for applicants. Please read carefully before start drafting your proposal. You can also see the evaluation forms. You get an idea how the evaluators are instructed to give scores during the evaluation, and also the model grant agreement for BBI. How you can get support. Here is a third tab. You can find all the necessary links that you can consult when you will have some difficulties during this process. Please be aware that the support available is not the interpretation of the topic, but technical assistance. BBI Joint Undertaking will not provide any feedback to the applicants. For example, if your idea fits to the call topic. It's up to you, the writers of the proposal, to convince evaluators about what you're proposing. You can also contact your national contact points if you have further questions of the topics or if you require additional information. You find the topic that you're interested in. now you should find for partners, especially for collaborative research projects, for EAs and CSAs. And at this time, you can also go through our platform, the partnering platform. We'll have the dedicated session afterwards. You will receive more information. You can also go through the participant portal. You just click on the H2020 manual, and then you will have the possibility to find more networking information. Also, the Enterprise Europe Network, which is the biggest network, including more than 6 countries financed by the European Union. But also you can contact our industrial partner, BIC, and as it was already mentioned, being a member of BIC, you can participate in BIC events, in the topic writing, and since BIC is searching for funding on top of the BBI one, then you will be during this channel of information. After you find your partners, all the organizations that will participate in the proposal should be registered to the participant portal beneficiary register page. Once you have introduced your request to the relevant service, they will contact you and they will ask further information about your legal status, authorized representative, and your financial viability. When your file will be completed, then you will receive the participant identification code, the so-called PIC number. For SMEs only, it's very useful to consult the participant portal now. You go through a questionnaire and then you can determine your status as SME. For the SMEs which are already registered and they provided financial data which are older than 2 years, please provide the recent ones. After this process is finalized, you will receive your PIC code and then you can access the European Authentication Service as external, where you can log in to your personal profile. Here you can see the area of your personal profile with all the information about your organization, ongoing proposals, and the projects that you are participating in. Proposals must be submitted electronically using the electronic submission system of the participant portal. And this is the responsibility of the coordinator to draft and submit the proposal by, at the beginning, choosing the topic and the type of action for the call. Then you will be directed to the proposal environment. As you can see from the slide, the electronic submission system is an online wizard that guides you step by step through the preparation of your proposal. You can see at the top of the page the step-by-step process and where you are in the process. The coordinator at this time should include the PIC number of his or her organization and then introduce the acronym and the summary of the proposal. Here you can see 2 types of warnings. The one is labeled as an error, and this will prevent you from submitting your proposal. And the second one is simply a warning, will not prevent you to submit, but please pay attention to the specific instructions described. At this part of the process, the coordinator includes all the members of the consortium that will participate in the proposal. Here, you cannot include the third parties. The third parties should be included in the Part B of the proposal. What is Part B? For the ones that are not really familiar, we'll explain it to the next slide. Important element is that all the organizations at this stage should have a PIC number. The proposal itself contains 2 main parts. The Part A, which are the administrative forms, and the Part B, which is the technical annex, are the narrative part of your proposal. How you describe the description of the project, for example, outlining the work packages, the cost, etc. Here you can see the Part A of the proposal and the table of contents. For example, all the general information, the participant contacts, the budget, the ethics, and the call-specific questions. If, for example, we click on the budget, The coordinator will have the opportunity to enter the figures for each member of the consortium or re-edit it afterwards. Please be aware that the call coordinator has to select manually the funding percentage for each organization. So the coordinators should read very carefully the funding rates in our work plan. This is especially relevant for RIAs and CSA because in these cases the large enterprises are not entitled for funding. And this is another one point for you to think about the SMEs that should go now to the participant portal and determine their status. Because for RIA and CSA that they will request funding 100% and finally are not with this status, SME status, they will not be able to receive the funding and the budget will have an impact. It was already mentioned several times about the BBI program. It's an industry-driven program, and we need to see the commitment from the consortium in terms of their own contribution. Here, in the part A, you should indicate the names of the companies, the amount that they will put in terms of in-cash and additional investments. As Elisa described before, the in-kind contributions will be in the budget table directly. Regarding the additional investments, and in order to help the applicants to gather all the information in one place, and also to help our evaluators to have a closer idea on the additional investments, not only the amount, we include this table to the guide for applicants so you can summarize all the information besides the amounts that you will introduce to the part A and part B of your proposal. One additional call-specific question is a privacy statement. Before submitting your proposal, you have to click yes or no by allowing the BBI Joint Undertaking to provide to our advisory bodies for the non-retained proposals the name and the nationality of each organization and the requested funding. And why this is very important for us. One of our advisory bodies, the State Representative Group, which is actually advises the BBI Joint Undertaking on the program progress and including the level of the participation at the national level. The second advisory body is the Scientific Committee, which advises on the strategic orientation of the BBI work plan. Therefore, it will be extremely important for them to have a closer idea on the organizations that submit proposals. So please click yes. Here you can see the part B, which consists of 3 different elements. The first one is section 1 to 3, where the page limit is applicable. And here, as I mentioned before, is the narrative part of your proposal. The section 4 and 5, where the page limit is not applicable. Here you include the information about the consortium, and also here is a place to include the business case and business plan. For innovation actions, please provide as much as information for the business case and business plan, because this is an integral part of the evaluation. What is a complete business plan and business case? This you can find it in the guide for applicants. The third part of the part B is the optional annex, where you can include all information about ethics or any other additional documentation that you consider relevant and important for the evaluators to better assess your proposal. At this stage, and before the deadline, you will have the possibility either to re-edit your proposal or withdraw it. If you finally proceed with the submission, then all the members of the consortium will receive an automatic notification about the successful submission of the proposal. And then congratulations, your proposal arrives in BBI. If it's eligible, we'll go through the evaluation of your proposal. Our evaluators will be instructed to evaluate the proposal against the evaluation criteria of H2020. if you're familiar with that, you can see the black ones are the ones which are already used in BBI 2020, but the blue ones are the ones which illustrate the specificities for the joint undertaking. And now it gives me the great pleasure to let Dieter to elaborate about the evaluation criteria in his presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Polybius. Indeed, it's time with Dieter Brigitte, who is also a BBI JU project manager.
Thank you, Philippe, and thank you, Polybius. We will start this presentation with a bit of a detour. But please bear with me. In about 2 or 3 minutes, you'll understand why this presentation, dedicated to how to write a good proposal, actually starts with the following question, that is, do you have BBI expertise? So you've heard a lot about bio-based industries, how we use sustainable biomass, how we convert that through biorefineries into different types of bio-based products. So do you have expertise there, including dissemination, exploitation, communication expertise? If that's the case, then I would like to invite you to register as an expert on Horizon 2020. BBI, we use the same expert database as Horizon 2020, so we really need different fields, different expertise. And if you're ever invited as an evaluator, you will gain very valuable expertise, because knowing how BBI proposals are evaluated will of course help you to write your own applications the next time in a better way. You'll know better what to say, what not to say, what is really important, what is not. So therefore, the mantra throughout this presentation on how to write a good BBI proposal will be, think like an evaluator. So what we've done is we've taken 2 sources of information here. We took some general tips and tricks on how to write a good proposal. And we combined them with elements and slides that we, BBI, actually show to our evaluators when we brief them. So, and we've condensed that information into 5 points, which I'll now go through together with you. So the first point is evaluate the proposal, not the topic text. What do we mean by that? Well, first of all, evaluate the proposal as is. So if you've gathered very valuable expertise throughout the years, and you're writing your proposals in a fairly vague way, and you think, okay, you know, we'll go into details if my proposal is then finally selected. Well, that approach might have worked when we're still in FP7, 7th Framework Program, but that approach will not work anymore in Horizon 2020 and in BBI. Why is that? Because we ask our evaluators to evaluate the proposal as it is, not on its potential if certain things would be changed. This is actually also better and more honest towards you proposal writers, because what sometimes happened in the past was you received a letter which said that congratulations, you're one of the best proposals. Oh, by the way, we would still like to ask you to change this, 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 and this, and of course, yes, the budget cannot change. So this is why in Horizon 2020, in BBI, evaluators are explicitly asked, evaluate the proposal as it is. How to evaluate that? Well, to compare it with the topic text. Maybe you've already read a couple of the topic texts, and when you read it, you might have thought, well, it's unfortunate that they haven't added this element to the topic text, or actually with that sentence in the topic text, I completely disagree. That's unfortunate, but the topic texts are what they are. In the previous presentations, we heard how these topic texts are made. The BBI is an industry-driven program, but the topic texts still are checked and validated by Commission. We have our advisory bodies that also give advice on what the topic text should be, which means that the topic text that you see often went through a couple of iterations, and every sentence counts. So a useful technique for you to do is you take your topic text, you put it in Word, and you put an enter after every sentence or cluster of similar sentences. And then ask yourself the question, is your proposal, is your idea addressing all these different elements after which an enter was put? This technique is, by the way, also very useful once you've done that to spot missing expertise in your consortium. And that will also help you to focus your partner search a bit more, knowing that, okay, looking at this, I still need this, this, and this expertise. So that was the first point, evaluate the proposal, not the topic text. Second point is, and which is actually the main question that we ask our evaluators, is there a match between the topic text and your proposal? A couple of situations can happen there. I'll first explain the two most extreme ones. You can have a situation when there's no match at all. The topic text says create or build a biorefinery. The proposal says I'm going to build an electric car. There's no match. Then the proposal will be out of scope, and you might wonder, yeah, that's logical, why even mention that? Well, a lot of BBI topic texts use similar terminology, biomass, biorefineries, etc. And there are still people who submit their proposals under the wrong topic. So please, when you are starting to submit your proposals, please check and double check that you're actually submitting it under the right topic. Second extreme situation is the full match. So where the proposal and the topic text, they completely overlap. Now, these types of situations, they can actually be considered as unicorns. A lot of people, they're mythical creatures, but not that many people have actually seen one in real life. The good news is that in BBI JU land, unicorns do exist. They're still very rare, but they do exist. We have seen proposals where there was really this perfect match. So never thought I'd ever say this during an info day, but try to be a unicorn here. These are the two more extreme situations. Two more common situations are situation, for example, a more than the topic. So you submit a proposal, the topic says create a biorefinery, and in your proposal you're creating a biorefinery, but you're also developing an electric car. You might think, good, I'm doing more than is requested of me. Problem is, and then we go back to the topic texts. You're actually using money that has been assigned to a specific topic to solve a certain problem, and you're doing something else with that. So in this case, more is not better. When is more better? That's when the additional investments come into play. Of course, if you're including more additional investments in your proposal, that will have a positive impact on the evaluation. But doing something completely different, not. And the last situation is the partial match. So where you have your proposal, your topic, there's an overlap. And then, of course, the main question is, how big is the green part? How much overlap is there between your proposal and the topic text? Third point is, okay, we ask our evaluators, see if there's a match between a proposal and topic. But how to do that? And this is when, something else. Specific situation about resubmissions. Resubmissions are allowed. However, please ensure that the resubmitted proposal addresses the items described in Call 2016, not the previous one. Why do we mention that? Because it's not because you get, for example, 13 out of 15 in a previous topic or in a previous call that you will automatically also get 13 out of 15. Why? Because the topic text is different. The expected impacts are different. So please, when you do a resubmission or when you're reusing certain parts of old proposals, recycling as it is called, please check and double check that you're not referring to old partners, old acronyms, parts of previous proposals. So please take this into account. So we ask our evaluators to see if there's a match. How to do that? Then we go to the evaluation criteria. BBI, we use the same main criteria as Horizon 2020, so excellence, impact, and implementation. As Polivius already mentioned, we actually use all the different sub-criteria as well, but there are some BBI-specific evaluation sub-criteria. So the question that I have to you is, do you understand all the evaluation sub-criteria, including the BBI-specific ones? Because we ask our evaluators to check all these different sub-criteria. So you need to be able, in your proposal, to give an answer to all these different sub-criteria. And of course, does it address everything? Let's maybe now go through to the BBI-specific sub-criteria. And there it really depends on the type of action, which type of specific sub-criteria are applicable. For the CSAs, there are no specific sub-criteria, so there only the Horizon 2020 ones are applicable. For RIAS and IAS, Research Innovation Actions, there's an additional sub-criterion in impact, the extent to which the consortium contribution will help to maximize the impact of the action, and for innovation actions, they're explicitly mentioned, including additional investments. Why is that? Because this is the specificity of the BBI program. We have these additional investments, we have these in-kind contributions, we have the in-cash contributions. So, of course, we ask our evaluators to check them, to evaluate them, and to say something about that in their evaluation report. In the innovation actions, there are also a couple of additional sub-criteria. Now, innovation actions, those are our projects that are closest to market. Remember that. Which means that, for example, for excellence, we ask evaluators to check, is the whole value chain covered? Because we're talking here about projects close to market, which means that you cannot only look at, for example, just creating a biorefinery. You also need to make sure that you have enough biomass and that you have enough markets at the end. So for innovation actions, the whole value chain needs to be included and will be evaluated. In implementation, you also have a specific sub-criterion, soundness of the business case and business plan. Again, we're close to market. We're not doing some wishful thinking. It really needs to be a real business case behind your idea. And then also the readiness of the technology for implementation of pilot phase and demonstration. You need to convince the evaluators that you are already at an advanced stage for innovation actions, that you're not just at TRL 1 somewhere, I have an idea, and now I'm going to build a biorefinery. That's not how it works. So convince the evaluators that your idea is already technologically mature enough. How to do this? Follow the structure of the proposal templates. There is a specific structure that is used. There are specific questions that are mentioned in the templates as well. So please just follow that structure. This will really help the evaluators to find the right information at the right place. If you make the life easier for your evaluators, more than not, it has a positive impact on the evaluation of your proposal. If you want to know more about the proposal structure per type of action, you can consult the guide for applicants. Bit of a side note, you can always find more information on the participant portal, but also on our website. We have a frequently asked questions list, and this is also where you can find the guide for applicants. Fourth point, scoring scale. So, okay, we've evaluated now everything. How will we give points to all this? Well, there we go back to our three main criteria, excellence, impact, and implementation. Realize that for each criterion, you can get a score of maximum 5. For each criterion. So it's not enough to have an excellent idea and maybe score 5 out of 5. You also need to convince the evaluators that your proposal actually has impact. And in implementation, you need to convince them that you have the right work plan, methodology, management structures to actually undertake all the activities that you say that you're going to do in your proposal. But although each criterion has its importance, it's already mentioned a couple of times, there's even more focus on impact. And that really is translated into the scoring system, because for all actions, the impact threshold is 4 out of 5. So you need to score at least 4 out of 5 for impact in order to be eligible for funding. And for the innovation actions, there's even a weighing factor of 1.5. So there the impact criterion, when we're making the ranking list, becomes even more important. So please take that into account. All criteria are important, but impact is even more important. The last point is the budget line approach. In Call 2016, you'll see that there's sometimes more than one topic in a budget line. We have 5 budget lines in Call 2016. We have the CSAs, we have the RIAs, we have the demos, and then for F1 and F2 there's also a budget line. What does a budget line mean is when you submit a proposal under a budget line, you're competing with all the proposals submitted under that budget line. So if you're submitting a proposal under RIA 1, you are competing with proposals that are submitted for all the RIAs. The practical result of that is if you only look at your own topic and you think, well, actually our consortium, best consortium ever. For this specific topic, we can do everything. Globally, there is no one that can do what we can do. We also have a great idea that will generate great impact. We have implementation, but you know what? We're alone here. Don't get complacent. Don't become lazy, because it's not enough to just pass all the thresholds, because you will probably be competing with proposals submitted under in the same budget line. Realize this. Submit not just a proposal that's good enough, submit the proposal that is the best proposal possible. Realize this. So, how to write a good BBI proposal? Think like an evaluator. Strive to be that unicorn. And then I'm coming back to my first slide on, do you have BBI expertise? If you haven't created a profile, do it. If you haven't recently updated it, update it. Of course, we won't invite you to be an evaluator if you're also a participant, proposal writer in Call 2016, but still create or update your profile, because we might invite you to review ongoing BBI projects. We might invite you to evaluate next calls, but also, since we use the same database as Horizon 2020, other people in Commission might be able to find you and invite you to evaluate or review Horizon 2020 proposals. Now, since Call 2016 is now open, we will send out invitations. Our first batch of invitations will be sent by the end of April. So if you would still like to be included in that first batch, please register or update, and please send an email to this email address, experts.bbi@bbi.europa.eu. Sending us an email will not guarantee that we will actually invite you, but it will guarantee that we will have a look at your profile, and we will see if indeed you have interesting expertise to be considered an evaluator in Call 2016. Because if you haven't understood it by now, the evaluation is central in what we do at BBI, because better evaluators results in the best proposals that are being selected, and that in the end results in our objectives being reached. Good luck with writing your proposal, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dieter. So the next speaker is Peter Axgaard, who will share with us the lessons learned from the project Greenlight.
Okay, now it's working. Thank you. It's good with support. Okay, this is, well, it's interesting to hear the presentation before me, because now we know how to make a proposal. And I made this presentation, or we made it at Evensia before this event, so we see if there is a match. Hopefully there is some match anyway. Okay, I will actually start with what the project was about. The Greenlight project is about lignin-based carbon fibers. What are they good for? They're good for strong, light structures, for weight reduction mainly. And the goal of this project is to make future cars lighter, to improve energy efficiency, which is, I guess, quite important for many reasons. This is the value chain, very simplified. The forest, the pulp mill making lignin. The lignin can be converted to fibers, carbonized. Then composites are made with the carbon fibers, and then the final application. And this is the consortium along the value chain, starting with Invensia, coordinated, but also very, very focused on lignin research. Södra, a future producer of lignin for further valorization. And finally, the end user, this is Fiat, a large automotive producer. So this is a strong value chain as we saw it. Okay, now you know a little bit about Greenlight. And Greenlight stands for green renewable feedstock, and light, that's light. So it's not an acronym, it's a name. First, it's important to understand the topic. It's hard to read here actually. Can I make this larger so I can read here? This can make this. Boy. I'm not used to this setup, actually. I can look exactly good, because I need glasses to read it and I can't really. Okay, first, is my idea in line with the topic and the challenge? That has been discussed is quite obvious. There should be a good match, as good as possible. Ideally, it should be a complete match. It's hard to get it, I guess. And will the expected results meet the requested impact? That has been stressed too. That's obvious. But also important to look on the total budget, how many projects to be compete with and stuff like that. It can be difficult. Estimate the number of proposals. Well, not easy, of course. And try to find who is behind the topic, who is the company or what the group of companies are behind it. This can be really helpful. And in one of the topics that was out last year, I saw a sentence, and this is so similar to what one company said earlier. So I called a representative of the company. Are you behind this proposal? Finally, yes, we are behind it. And that was a starting point. So the more you know in general about an area, the better opportunities you have to sort of succeed. Who will benefit from the results? It's quite obvious that should be implementation and an end user. So it has been said also before me. Is there a European value? What problems shall be solved? Are the results in line with the European priorities? Or are there better solutions? Well, then we shouldn't try. Why do we apply now? It's not only to get money. It has to be to fulfill some other objectives for European Union and for the industries that will support this. And why should just my organization do this? Are we good or are we in a special situation? So, because it's a big effort to do it, actually. It is sometimes underestimated. When you sort of you're convinced that you will make the proposal, it's very good if you summarize the idea on 1 or 2 pages. Simple text that you can use for sort of marketing the idea to companies you would like to engage and research partners, unless you already know the group. But it can be very good to have it and also use it in communication with the persons at working with the BBI here. And you can also fine-tune sort of the structure and the phrasing of different things. So it becomes more clear. So start develop your consortium, and sometimes you can do it before the topic is public, because there are earlier versions that are discussed. So the earlier the better, and sometimes 3 months is a short time actually, especially if we have summer and a long vacation, and vacation in Sweden in July, in France in August. Then we have a problem with the submission in early September. So many vacations are destroyed sometimes, but it may be worth it. Coordination. We need a very qualified project manager. This is not something you do in the evenings, for instance. It's basically a full-time job, more or less. And it takes some experience. Time is needed. You need a lot of interaction with the partners. Many things will not come in on time. When you request a certain information, you will get a week later, and then everything gets a mess. So you have to remind people and stuff like that. So really important that you're working hard to make things run smoothly. And get support from your organization. We have that in Vensia anyway. Or use external support. That is another good opportunity. It is worth paying for, actually. Under the proposal, of course, the impact section that has been stated is really important. And even more important if this is an innovation action or in BBI in general, more important than in Horizon. and we have to sort of describe how can the partners exploit the results, how can the results be exploited in a broader perspective, the effect goal, so to say, and can we use supporting documents like roadmaps, research agendas, and things like that. Argumentation for the project. And to summarize the take-home message, read the topic text very, very carefully and understand the topic. So don't make a car if you are working with bioeconomy. A very good example, actually. I don't think we have done that mistake, but it can happen. Maybe it's a green car, possibly. Who will use the results? Important. Is this a European priority? Make a summary of the idea and discuss it with your national contact person or persons and project officer here at BBI. And it's a demanding task, so you need a qualified project manager with enough time to spend on the task. And in the proposal started the impact section, actually, because at least as we experience at events and organizations, we know that is often where we fail, actually. Can be very good technically, but we have failed on impact earlier. So, okay, that was some sort of quick words about what we have learned from this proposal. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Peter. Now, our last speaker is Mome Velmade, who will talk to us about the partnering platform and how to use it to build a network.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to present you today BBI Partnering, the online networking system for the BBI community. BBI Partnering has been launched in 2015 to support the European stakeholders in the construction of consortia for the BBI calls. Therefore, it has been designed to facilitate the identification of consortia partners and to actually network with them. A specific focus has been given to the BBI Info Days. The users of BBI Partnering can view the listing of attendees, view detailed profiles, and organize personal meetings to be scheduled during the event. In 2015, BBI Partnering has been launched as a web portal. In 2016, BBI Partnering has launched a dedicated mobile application. This app is available since 3-4 weeks, and we hope it assists you not only today but in general in your networking activities around the upcoming calls for proposals. You can download this app from iTunes if you have a mobile phone, iPhone or iPad, and you can find it in Google Play if you have an Android mobile. I shall explain later how to use it to organize actually your meetings in the afternoon. BBI Partnering, the software, is available to all the European stakeholders of the bio-based economy. And it is not limited per se to the attendees of this event. So don't hesitate. Talk about it to your friends, colleagues. They should enjoy it and make best use out of it. As the online activities with BBI Partnering activities day by day, you might check in a couple of weeks now for profiles, new profiles, updated profiles, and maybe new proposals published. Since its creation in 2015, BBI partnering is used by more than 1,000 stakeholders already. BBI Info Days are always triggering a big number of stakeholders to register. And we see around 100 new profiles month by month now. The users are coming from more than 30 countries, and they represent a wide variety of organizations. The biggest number of users come from research organizations and universities. An important number represents industry companies, large groups as well as SMEs. Technology transfer units and specialized service companies are building the third big block of stakeholders. BBI partnering offers you a range of complementary filters to identify the partners you're looking for. For example, you can filter by type of organization, type of activity, and by industry sector. Within the last 2 months, more than 500 individual stakeholders accessed BBI partnering and updated their profile. These profile updates have been done by experts representing more than 30 job categories: scientific profiles, project management, human resources, financing, IP, and many more. So now is definitely the time to access BBI partnering and to update your profile in regard to the call 2016. At the same time, you will see who is active in the perspective of building consortia for the call 2016. Again, a number of filters and the BBI search engine is helping you to see who is interested in what type of action and in what specific topic 2016. In regard to the BBI Call 2016, the stakeholders are now starting to inform you about the type of actions and specific topics they're interested in. For these stakeholders, you can see what are their interests, what they are looking for, and what type of expertise or resources they actually are needing to build a successful consortia project. Today, in addition to these profile updates, more than 250 offers for consortia building are published in BBI partnering. These offers give you a specific idea about how to cooperate with these organizations. Today, they cover all the different types of actions and all the individual topics 2016. And more offers are published day by day. So you can access BBI partnering today during lunch and look who is interested in what topic and who is actually publishing a detailed consortia offer for a specific topic. Let's take some minutes now to review how you can improve your meeting agenda of the brokerage event, or even you can start building your first meeting. Therefore, BBI partnering, the mobile and the website, offers a dedicated section 2016 Open Info Day. This section resumes all the relevant information about the activities of today, including the program, the attendees registered, and the networking offers. Within the section, you can select your potential consortia partners and send them a meeting invitation for today. You can accept or decline incoming meeting invitations, and you can review your agenda online. In the last 4 weeks, more than 250 attendees of the Info Day of today have accessed BBI partnering to learn more about the program and actually to update their profile. With these updates, they inform you about the activities and objectives in regard to the call. More than 120 detailed cooperation offers for the call 2016 have been published by the attendees of this Open Info Day. In the last 2 weeks, more than 150 attendees have used BBI partnering to pre-schedule personal meetings for the brokerage event. Philippe told us already they have selected meeting candidates addressed via BBI partnering their personal meeting invitation, and this allowed us right now to have scheduled 450 meeting invitations for the afternoon. So let me explain how you can still make more meetings or even start scheduling your first meeting. Therefore, you can either use your computer and the website, or you can use your mobile phone. In both platforms, you will find a section attendees, and there you can either scroll down the listing or run a keyword search to find the people you would like to meet. When you find an attendee you would like to meet this afternoon, please send him a meeting invitation. Therefore, within his profile, you just click on an icon, on a symbol, and this allows you to send a personal meeting invitation to this person. BBI partnering will take care to deliver this invitation by email and by push notification to his mobile phone. When you receive a new meeting invitation, because you will send meeting invitations, but you will maybe receive meeting invitations, you will also receive an email alert and a push update. So now is definitely the time to download this mobile app. You simply need to accept or decline the meeting invitation with a simple click. The platform takes care to schedule this meeting at a time slot and a meeting location which still is available for both meeting partners. Throughout the afternoon, your meeting agenda is permanently improved and permanently up to date. Whenever you check it, you will see the latest meeting agenda for you. As soon as a new meeting is agreed by two attendees, and if it can be scheduled in one of our meeting locations, this meeting will be scheduled and you will be alerted. You can review the meeting time and the meeting point online in the website and in your mobile app. In addition to the meeting time and location, you can review the profile of your meeting partner and check what type of action or what specific topic he or she is interested in. The best time to send and accept meeting invitations shall be during the lunch break. The earlier you send your meeting invitation, the earlier your meeting candidate knows about the opportunity to meet you. So how is this happening in real life? Meetings are scheduled in the afternoon from 2 to 5 p.m. Each meeting take up to 15 minutes each, so please take time to discuss, but please take care to finish your discussion in time. You might have scheduled other meetings in a row, and other participants might wait for this meeting point to be free. The meeting points are defined by numbers, and there exist today 44 meeting points running through this room here. Please send your meeting invitations or accept meeting invitations until 3:30. This will enable us to schedule your meetings and to alert your meeting partners about first your meeting invitation and second about the new meeting scheduled. Again, your meeting agenda is up to date all the time, so please check it regularly and especially around 3:30 to check your latest agenda. This will be the final agenda for today you will receive at 3:30. For those of you who actually didn't yet start organizing meeting or even didn't start using BBI partnering, it is still time to enter the game. Please retrieve your personal log information from one of our mailings or come to meet us at the info desk outside. We are available right during the lunch break, so please don't hesitate to come and meet us. Yeah, I think that's what I needed to tell you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohamed. It's now time for questions. And before to start, there is a clarification to do by Elisa with regard to the role of project manager of BBI to support you during the preparation of a proposal.
Yeah, just to briefly mention, because some messages might be misleading. Let's say that very good idea to have your summary. You can show the summary of your project, of your proposal to the NCP, but you should show it to us because, I mean, we are not here to, because just for transparency and to be fair to everybody, the contact you have with us is through the frequently asked questions document, and we don't give specific advice to specific proposals. Okay? Just this one. Just don't come to us with your summary.
Okay, thank you. Then I received a question online. We said several times to what extent additional investment is important for the program and especially for flagship. And we had a question, additional investment is a sub-criteria, as already explained, but is it mandatory? And there maybe I can ask Marta Campos, our legal manager, to answer the specific point.
The answer is very short. No, they are not mandatory. They are evaluated, especially in innovation actions. This is part of the sub-criteria, but they are not mandatory. There is not legal requirement to have additional investments.
Okay, thank you. Crystal clear. Are there questions from the audience? Sure, you have. Or maybe you are very angry. You can be very angry, but there is room for questions. And I remind you that during the lunch and during the afternoon, in parallel of the brokerage event, there are booths there. The BBI team will be there, BIC is there, other partners will be there, so don't hesitate to visit us so that we can answer your questions. Nothing. Wow. So
it was very clear. All presentations were very clear.
Yes, probably we have to be careful next year to be less clear in the PowerPoint presentation in order not to anticipate all the questions you would have. No, really, no question. Wow. Wait.
Yulia Matskevich, Brunel University. Sorry, I did realize that the question session was closed, so I tried to use my chance. I'm interested, what about SME clusters? I think it was mentioned in some of the beginning of the presentation. Could they be considered as a partner? And if yes, so what would be the funding arrangement for them? Thanks.
I think that they were by Dirk mentioning that as big members there are SME clusters, so they allow these SMEs to be better represented. In the proposal, yes, you can form temporary enterprise unions that you will have to explain and to define. And you will have to define between yourselves the roles. There is not a...
Sorry, and funding rules for that?
Yeah, the funding rule will be the same. It will be if all of them, yes. If temporary union is considered to be SMEs, if all of them are complying with the requisites, they will consider it SME.
No questions. So, it's time for lunch. I have to warmly thank the speakers of this session, but I really want to thank to our communication team of BBI, because really they did a great job in preparing this day, and for sure the afternoon session will be as good as the morning session. So thank you very much. Time for lunch, time for networking lunch. Thank you.